All right. Let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Recha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Captive Exile's Freedom. Pretty much this is based off of scripture in the book of Isaiah, the 51st chapter, which Lord's over. We're going to read the whole chapter, if the spirit be willing. And pretty much what the captive exile is the nation of Israel that is in captivity and exile from their home, which make up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel on the 12 tribe sign, consisting of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And yes, it is 100% accurate. Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai for that. So we're in the land of our captivity unto this day, being America, Babylon the Great. America, which goes back to the word Amerigo or Amargo, which means bitter. And this place has been a bitterness and captivity. You know, and when we go to the book of Jeremiah, I'm not sure if it's the 51st chapter or the 50th chapter. Let me just bring it up real quick. Just bear with me 1 second. When we go there, there are certain metaphors, I guess you could say, or not so much as metaphors. Jeremiah chapter 50. Okay. Jeremiah Salakia. There are certain names, for lack of better words, that the Bible, or nicknames, let's say nicknames, that the Bible uses to describe certain empires or lands, so on and so forth. America happens to be amarga or amargo, which means bitter or bitterness, and that plays right into the scriptures because America is also known as Babylon the Great. She's also known as Nineveh, Sodom, Egypt, you know, spiritually. And when we go to Jeremiah chapter 50 and 21, it says, "Go up against the land of Marathaim, even against it and against the inhabitants of Pekod, waste and utterly destroy after them, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and do according to all that I have commanded thee." Now, the brother Yashalom from the New York camp brought this to my attention, that the word Marathaim is another name for Babylon, which means double bitterness. And boy, oh boy, has this place been doubly bitter. And what I did was, when he sent me that, I went and looked up the word Pekod, which is Pakwawad, which the word Pakwawad means visitation, punishment. So this is a place of bitterness, but it's going to be punished. Because these nations are going to have to suffer the punishment that the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is going to meet upon them for putting the children of Israel into captivity and into hardcore bondage. Now, let's go to the book of Isaiah, the 51st chapter. And like I said, Lord's will, we can get through the whole chapter. I'm going to start at the first verse. This whole chapter is a beautiful chapter. I read it this morning, looking for a lesson. And when I read through it, Spirit started giving me precepts, and there was precepts within the precepts, and was able to put the lesson together. So Isaiah 51 and 1. Hearken to me, ye that follow after righteousness, ye that seek the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and look unto the rock whence you are hewn, and to the hole of the pit whence you are digged. Because the rock that we're hewn from is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And they're the ones that actually brought us out of the pit. But the bringing out of the pit, which is captivity, has criterias with it. You know, has comes with what's the word I'm looking for? Well, criteria is the best word I can think of right now. I can't think of another word, you know, and that is seeking after righteousness. All right. So it says, look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah that bare you, for I called him alone, and blessed him, and increased him. Yeah, because the Most High was going to deal with his seed, singular, which went from Abraham to Isaac unto Jacob. And all of the children that came out of Jacob represent the children of the promise. Abraham himself, being of that seed line, would come back as an Israelite, because that is the seed where the promise of the Lord rested. Noah and Shem and all of the righteous men that came out of the line of Noah and Shem through our Faxad would come back as Israelites, you know, righteous men. Lot himself, being a blood descendant of Abraham, also would come back as an Israelite because of that seed. That seed is what? The seed of the sons of God. What is the sons? What are the sons of God? It goes back to the name Israel, Yasha Allah, Yah Shar Prince Allah power. Ye are prince of the power, or ye are princes with God. And those are the sons of God that came out of Adam's line in the book of Genesis, the 5th chapter. That was a whole line. Genesis 4th chapter was a line of the wicked from Cain, and Genesis 5 are the line of the sons of God, or the righteous, from Adam through Abel down to Seth. All right, and in Genesis the 6th chapter, the giants that they were speaking about were the sons of Adam. You know, they eventually corrupted themselves where the Lord didn't want them to, and that's why man fell and the earth was destroyed. So going back to Isaiah 51:3, for the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai shall comfort Zion. Why? Because we are the nation that needs comforting. When you read the book of Daniel, the 9th chapter, it says that there was no other nation that has happened to what has happened to Jerusalem. The people of the Lord, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American people, Native American Indians, have never, no other nation has ever suffered like they have suffered. You know? So these are the people of the Lord, because they suffered everything that we read about in the scriptures, and then, which is written in the scriptures also, but then you got to look at captivity and slavery and the colonization of the Western Hemisphere, beginning with the Spaniards when they came here, the Dutch, the French, the English, and all of the rest of those devils that came here and stole the lands, put the people in captivity, slavery, gave them a hard way to go, even unto this very day. So no other nation on the planet suffered like we've suffered. And don't come with the 48ers, because the 48ers, that all that stuff was self-imposed, because they were trying to steal the land of Israel back. So what they did was they made up all this BS and had them so-called persecuted. It even says that the ghettos that they were in were self-imposed. When you read the book of the 13th Tribe by Arthur Koestler. So those ghettos that they were living in were self-imposed, because they knew that the Israelites, it says in the scriptures that the Israelites would be dwelling in corners, that they would be cursed in the city, that they would be cursed in the field. You know, that's why they had to make a way for them to seem like they were the people of the Lord. Anyways, it says, for the Lord shall comfort Zion, he will comfort all her waste places, and he will make her wilderness like Eden. Right, because the land of Israel eventually is going to be totally wiped out 100%. It says, and her desert like the garden of the Lord. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. Why? Because right now Jacob is in a destitute state. You know, King David said, how can we sing a song, you know, of Zion, in the land of our captivity or something along those lines when you read Psalms 137 chapter. So we're going to be able to rejoice and sing melodies to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai in the kingdom, because we're going to be elevated. We're going to be magnified to the level that we're supposed to be at, not at the level that we're at now. Because even though we have the greatest knowledge on the planet, we're still in a very low condition. We're still in a very low spot. So let's read real quick Psalms 149 and 5. It says, let the saints, who are the saints? The word saints means Israelite. The word saints means holy. Kodash, which means holy, which are the Israelites. So it says that the saints be joyful in glory. What is glory? The kingdom of heaven. It says, let them sing aloud upon their beds. So in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to be able to sing those melodies to the Lord perfectly. Now we can sing it to him, but we're not perfected as yet. But we're going through the stages of perfection. It says, let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand. So the high praises of the Lord will be in our mouth in the kingdom of heaven, and the Lord will be able to be there, to hear us directly, instead of having us to go or be seen through Yahushai. But Yahushai is our righteousness right now. So when the Lord looks at us, he looks at us through Yahushai, not directly. All right. So now let's go back to Isaiah 51 and 4. Hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me, O my nation. For a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. Yeah, because finally when we're going to get true judgment and true justice, the Lord shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. My righteousness is near, my salvation is gone forth, and mine arms shall judge the people. Yeah, and the Lord said that his words will not go out void. So the sentence is already out. Everything is already in motion. We're just waiting for the right time for the Lord to bring it to pass so that we can enjoy the benefits. It says, the isles shall wait upon me, and on mine arm shall they trust. Yeah, because the Most High is going to send Yahushai, which is the arm of the Lord, to deliver us. Because his name, Yahushai, Yahushai is deliverer or savior. And he is a deliverer. And we don't care who doesn't like the name. We don't care who doesn't believe that that's the pronunciation. We believe it by faith. We've seen the name work for us. We've seen the name work for brothers. Brothers have cast out names, devils in that name also. Back in the old One West School and everything. So we know that those are the names, Yahweh and Yahushai. Because if it wasn't, why would these devils fight so hard to try to do away with those names? Just like those wicked Pharisees and them back then didn't want that name to be taught, didn't want anything to be said in that name. So if those names did not pose a threat, they would have allowed it, just like they allow Yahweh, just like they allow Yahushua, just like they allow all those other different names. You don't see the vocab attacking any of those other names, Yahushua, Jeshua, Yahweh, none of that. He doesn't attack any of those names. Why? Because those names are not the names of the Lord and of his Son. It says, verse 6, lift up your eyes to the heavens and look upon the earth beneath. For the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment, and they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. Yeah, because the elect will be in the chariots. It says, only with thine eyes shall thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. So the elect will be in the chariots looking down and seeing the devastation and the destruction of this place. It says, shall die in like manner, but my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. Yeah, because this is going to be an everlasting kingdom. It's not going to be something that's going to last for a little while, a couple of 100 years or whatever, or after 1,000 years, that shit is done. No, it's going to be everlasting. And it means just that. Everlasting means everlasting. It says, hearken unto me, ye that, verse 7, hearken unto me, ye that know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my law. Because we have the law of the Lord. The scriptures say that in the book of Romans 8:16, that the Spirit of the Lord bears witness with our spirit that we are the sons of the Most High, because we have certain traits of the Lord and certain laws that certain things that we do that are according to what the law speaks and says. It says, "Fear ye not the reproach of men." Yeah, because we're being reproached. We're being called niggas, spooks, wetbacks, tontos, and all that. We're being told that we're not the people of the Lord, that we're insignificant and blah, blah, this, that, and the other, the sun, moon, the stars, or whatever. But at the end of the days, we are the children of the Most High, because it says that in a place where it was said unto them that you are not the children of the Most High, there shall be said unto them that they are the people of the Lord. It says, "Neither be ye afraid of their revilings." Yeah, and their revilings is when they come at us with those false accusations, with the threats, and with the this and with the that. Don't worry about that, because the Lord is going to set the record straight. It says, verse 8, "For the moth shall eat them up like a garment, and the worm shall eat them like wool. But my righteousness shall be forever, and my salvation from generation to generation." That's right. So they're going to be taken out by those missiles and by the fire that's coming from the lasers of the chariots. So the Lord's saying, don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of them. I got something for them. We to just focus on the mission at hand, which is to teach this word. All right. All right. Verse 9. It says, "Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord." Yeah, because Yahweh Shai is going to put on the strength of the Most High Yahweh and come down here. The scriptures speak about him being clad with zeal as with a coat. And, you brothers know the scripture where it speaks about the armor that Yahweh Shai is shod with and clothed with. It says, "Awake as in the ancient days, in the generations of old," right, during the time when we were delivered out of ancient Egypt, and we're about to be delivered out of modern day Egypt. It says, "Art thou not it that hath cut Rahab and wounded the dragon?" And Rahab and the dragon is a representation of ancient Egypt. When the Lord destroyed the Egyptian, the Pharaoh and his armies, and split the Red Sea to let us through. So today we're dealing with the modern day Egyptians, which are the Edomites, and the modern day Pharaoh, and the Lord is about to deliver us in a more spectacular fashion. Verse 10, "Art thou not it which hath dried the sea, the waters of the great deep, that hath made the depths of the sea a way for the ransomed to pass over?" So there was a way made for the ransom, which were the Israelites, the ones that were bought and paid for, to pass over, meaning to give them an exemption from judgment. So in this time now, it's going to be the same thing, but you're going to have Israelites that are of the elect that are going to receive that thawa, which is exemption from judgment, which is that mark of the Lord, to be delivered from this present evil world. And the deliverance is going to be by the chariots. See? And the thawa, which is the exemption from judgment, is the reserved ticket that the Lord has given to the elect to be delivered. It says, "Therefore the redeemed of the Lord shall return." See? So those that were redeemed or bought back shall return. The word return, shawab, which also means convert or turn back to the Lord. And who are those? Those are the Israelites, because the Israelites were the only ones that were given the law, statutes, and commandments of this Bible. So it says, "And come with singing unto Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away." And this is what we're waiting for that sorrow and that mourning to flee away. Because even though we know the truth, even though we're joyful, and thankful that we know this truth, and we know that this devil is going down and that we're going to be delivered, there's still times where we suffer from depression. We suffer from, having, difficult days. to deal with, having to go through certain obstacles, that mess with you, certain things that mess with you, certain spirits that are constantly attacking you, trying to, mess with you, mess with your mind, mess with your body, mess, in general. So when the kingdom is established, all that is going to be done away with. Verse 12, even I am he that comforteth you. Who art thou that thou shouldest be afraid of a man that shall die? Yeah, and Esau is going to die eventually after they serve their captivity, but their empire and their dreams and their goals and aspirations are going to die once America, Babylon the Great, is totally destroyed. And of the Son of Man, which shall be made as grass, and forgettest the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, thy maker, that hath stretched forth the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth, and hath feared continually every day because of the fury of the oppressor. And we've been suffering because of the fury of the oppressor, and it's getting worse. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. We're approaching now the end of August 2020, the year of prophecy. And they're speaking about in the fall, the mandates getting, and the legislation and the enforcing of these laws to get even worse, get tighter and tighter, then heading into the winter, which they plan on rolling out this vaccine that they have to make it mandatory eventually, because it'll first start off with, you can't go to work, or you can't do this, or you can't go to the store, or you can't go over here, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. You can't have a driver's license unless, you get vaccinated, and eventually it'll move from that to being mandatory, because these devils are not playing. They got the fury of the Lord upon them. The fury of the oppressor is the fury of the Lord upon them. All right. It says, as if he were ready to destroy. And where is the fury of the oppressor? Because they're not going to be able to do anything but that the Lord allows them to do. See, that's why these devils are delusional. Delusions, Mr. Wordsworth. So like I had to say that. That's from the Obsolete Man inside joke. So what you see these devils doing, remember, they're the sword of the Lord. The Lord is the one that's guiding them to do what they got to do. And it says that the devil has come down having great wrath because he knoweth that he has but a short time. But now in the 14th verse, which is the main part of this lesson, along with the rest of it, it says, the captive exile hasteneth that he may be loosed. Loosed from what? From this prison sentence. Now, it's not talking about actual shackles and actually being locked up in an actual prison, but really, when you really get technical, this is a prison, but it's a prison without bars, because they've moved the bars and the shackles and the manacles and and the chains and the yokes and put them upon the brains of the people, and now the elect are waking up, and those chains and those shackles are being taken away, as the Lord said, because of the anointing, because of this truth. So the elect are waking up. They're no longer under the spell of Esau. So those chains are being broken. So it says that the captive exile hasteneth that he may be loose. But even though mentally we're free, we still are servants and slaves under contract. Birth certificates, a driver's license, social security numbers, and any other adhesion contract, which the word adhesion means to glue together, any other adhesion contract that subjugates us or enslaves us to this system, So that's why we hasten to be loosed, because we're in captivity. We're a royal people, kings and princes, and princesses, that are in exile from our home, and we're looking to go back there, and we will go back there soon. It says, and that he should not die in the pit. Yeah, because America is a pit. You know, you've heard Elder Pastor say the word license, the LIC of it, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, means pit. Or no, or is it system, either license or system. I believe it's license, LIC, which means pit. Either one of the two. And that's the truth. It's a pit. You know? It says, nor that his bread should fail. Yeah, because eventually in this society, when they start clamping down, there's going to be a shortage of food. And right now, there's people, you know, throughout America, throughout the world, that are suffering hunger, that are standing on long ass lines, like they were doing in Venezuela, which beginning with Elder Pastor, he said that's coming to America. And people laughed and scoffed, but now you're seeing it slowly but surely coming here. You're seeing longer lines at the food banks because, you know, no one is able, either they don't have the food, and some don't have the money to buy the food because they barely have enough to keep a roof over their head, pay their bills. You see, so they have to go to food banks and stand on very long lines in order to get something to eat. And this is all a part of prophecy. Prophecy, 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 which vocab alone doesn't touch, because he's scared of prophecy. So now let's go from there real quick to the book of Zechariah, the 9th chapter. And we're going to go and start at the 9th verse. Zechariah 9. Just bear with me 1 second. Excuse me. Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 9. It says, rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout for, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding upon an ass, and upon a colt, the foal of an ass. So Yahushua came 2,000 years ago, brought salvation, you know, shed his blood, did what he had to do. So we have the salvation now, and now we're waiting for him to come back, this time in his majesty. He said, I will not meet thee as a man. It says, and I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the heathen, because you have Israelites that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, which are the Israelite foreigners, or as the scriptures call them sometimes, heathens, Gentiles, all right, uncircumcised. It says, and his dominion shall be from sea to sea, and from the river even to the ends of the earth. Verse 11, where's the point? It says, as for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit wherein is no water. So Yahushua 2,000 years ago freed us from the prison and the pit of death. He freed us from the prison and the pit of this society, because this society was created to punish and to swallow up the ones that are not a part of the elect. And it's going to get really bad out here, man. So now let's go back to Isaiah 51 and 14. It says, the captive exile hasteneth that he may be loosed, and that he should not be and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. It says, but I am the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, thy power, that divided the sea, whose waves roared. The Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts is his name. And there go that name again. And I have put my words in thy mouth, which is dealing with the prophets. And I have covered thee in the shadow of mine hand. So what is the shadow of the Lord's hand? It's talking about these chariots that are about to come and deliver the nation of Israel. You know? So it says that I may plant the heavens and lay the foundations of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people. Because right now it's been being said that the so-called Negroes, the Latinos, the Native American Indians are not the Lord's people. You know, that we're something else other than that. But the Lord is coming back to establish this fact and this point because he is about to be magnified in the earth. Him and his son, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh in the earth. And he's going to use us, the Israelites, to magnify himself when he comes to deliver us because he's doing it for his name's sake. So it says, awake, awake, because a lot of Jakes are still asleep. Stand up, O Jerusalem, because you're acting as if you're a slave. Matter of fact, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 2. Jeremiah chapter 2. And I believe it's the 14th verse, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? And that's the reason, because we're spoiled. We went down. The earth was made for our sakes. We pissed the Lord off when he gave us the law, statutes, and commandments. We didn't keep it. So he brought us low. He delivered us over into the hands of our enemies because we disobeyed. And there's a greater purpose for that, you know, but that, you know, that goes into another lesson, you know. But the bottom line is we weren't supposed to be servants. It says that they who judgment was not to drink from the cup have assuredly drunken. And it says, and art thou he that shall go altogether unpunished? Thou shalt not go altogether unpunished. Because you Edomites, so-called white people, beginning with you 1948ers, you're going to be in a bad shape when the Lord comes back. You're the nation that's going to be in power when the Lord comes back to deliver his elect of the nation of Israel. He's going to take it out of your hide, man. He's going to take it out of your hide. And that's why you constantly putting curses up against us. That's why them spirits be fucking with us. You know, like I had a hell of a day yesterday. You brothers already know. You know, Salakia for that. You know, I'll try to keep my composure, but you know, sometimes hell is hot. You know, but that's just an example of things. You know, there's days when you flow through it, and there's days when you go through the turbulence, and you know, you have to brace yourself. You know, and these devils know who we are. All right, so going back, verse 17, awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk of the hand of the Lord the cup of his fury. Thou hast drunk in the dregs of the cup of trembling and wrung them out. Like when you have a shirt or whatever, or a towel, and you wring in the water out of it and until the very last drops come out of it. That's how these devils have done us, man. We've been put through the ringer. You know, there's no more. You know, we like pretty much done. Had it not been for the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh to come and deliver us, we would be finished. It's the Spirit of the Lord that's keeping us alive, like he kept those shoes on Israel without wearing away for 40 years in the wilderness. It's the Lord that got that resilient spirit on us to no matter what these devils do, Jake always adapts. You know? Because that's the spirit that the Lord put upon us. So now let's go from there to the book of Lamentation, chapter 4. Lamentations chapter 4 and verses 21 and 22. And it reads, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, because right now we're in your hands. It says, that dwellest in the land of Uz, the cup also shall pass through unto thee. Yeah, because you're going to be one of the first nations that be carted right into slavery. Thou shalt be drunken and shall make thyself naked. What does it mean you're going to be drunken? Meaning you're going to be saturated with captivity, with slavery. You're going to, just look at what you did to us and the desperate situation we found ourselves in when you took over our lands and put us in captivity and brought the southern kingdom over here and put them in slavery. That's what you're going to suffer, but double. You know? So you're going to be drunken. You're going to be drunken with this slavery, with the cup of slavery. It says, and shall make thyself naked, because it's going to be exposed who you really are. is going to be made known, and you're going to have to pay. It says, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. So our iniquity is accomplished. This is why Jacob's still going through hell, but not that hell from back in 1492. You know, in the 1500s, in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s. You know, now it's still the energy is still there from these devils and the hatred, but the condition is not as bad as it used to be, but it's going to get bad out here for Jake. But then the Lord has said he's going to come and deliver us. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. Yeah, because when Yahweh comes back, you're going to be the one that's going to be in power, because the scriptures say that who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments? That's Yahweh coming to take you down and tear you up. Going to tear a new one in you, man. And that's why you devils are upset and mad and wroth, you know, and have that great wrath, you know, because that one devil came up to the apostles years ago, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Rakai, and told them, you know, there's forces out here that are not allowing you to make money. And they say, yeah, we know. Why? Because they have their witches out there and their warlocks, you know, chanting against Jake day and night. All right, so going back to Isaiah 51 and 17, let's read that again. Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which hath drunk at the hand of the Lord the cup of his fury. And now it's time for the oppressor to be oppressed. Thou hast drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling and wrung them out. So we drank it. We were gulping it every day, you know. Inside joke. It says, there is none to guide her among all the sons whom she hath brought forth. That's right. There's none to guide her among all the sons whom she has brought forth. It says, neither is there any that taketh her by the hand of all the sons that she has brought up. So now let's go to a couple of precepts on that. First one is in Isaiah, the 9th chapter, because your Jesse Jacksons, your Farrakhan's, your Martin Luther King, and your Malcolm X's, and your revolutionaries, and your peacekeepers, and your NAACP leaders, and your pastors in these churches, you know, and your different spokespersons and so-called senators and governors and mayors and police chiefs that are in all these different prominent positions are not going to be able to help you, because they're on the side of the enemy. They're the ones that prepare the table for that truth. This is Isaiah chapter 9 verse 16. It says, for the leaders of this people cause them to err. The word err is spelled E-R-R, which means to commit error. And they that are led of them are destroyed. Yeah, because you are destroyed, you are destructured by the power of these leaders that you're following behind, because you're trusting in them that they were going to lead you the right way, so that you can have some type of reprieve, some type of breathing room. But they've done nothing but put you deeper and deeper in that hole, in that pit that captive exile is hastening to be loose from. Now let's go from there to Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to jump around in Deuteronomy 28, because the 68th verse, which is the main verse, these devils try to use that verse and say that you're going to sell yourself into slavery, but no man's going to buy you. They're not going to purchase you, so that can't be you because you were bought in slavery, which is absolute ridiculous and doesn't make any goddamn sense in the world, you know. But when you read through Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, from the 15th verse to the 68th verse, there are different points in there that say the same thing. Because remember, you have the law of redemption, to where if you fell in decay, in poverty, and you had to sell yourself to your brother or to a heathen, your brother or yourself, depending on how much money you had, were able to redeem yourself out of that situation. But these curses that were going to come upon us, no one was going to be able to redeem them from us, except for the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 26. It says, it says, and thy carcasses shall be meat unto all fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. See, you're not going to have any man to help you in that situation. Now, let's jump down to the 29th verse. Verse 29 reads, and thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness. And you see Jake doing that, calling themselves Africans and, you know, consciousness and Moors and, you know, and everything under this, Egyptians and all kind of names, and, you know, that is not their nationality. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. And when you look in the worst parts of the city, which says, cursed shall I be in the city, cursed shall I be in the field, you see that in these so-called ghettos, hoods, barrios, favelas, shanty towns, you know, in these downtrodden places, the people that are there can barely survive. Why is that? Because they are Israelites. It says, thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. So as you read through here, the Lord has given a series of curses. And every once in a while, he'll throw in there that when you're going through these curses, no man's going to be able to save you. Why? Because you had the law of redemption, where your brother could help you in your situation and redeem you out of that situation to help you get back on your feet. So let's go from there now. Let's jump down to verse 31. It says, thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored unto to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. Because there's not going to be anyone to redeem you out of this situation. That's why it says that all these curses shall come upon us and overtake us, and nobody will be able to redeem us except for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Verse 32, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. And that was heart-wrenching. You know, having someone that's very close to you, daughter, son, daughter, father, mother, that you grown attached to, and then they separate you and you never see them again. That is heart-wrenching. It says, and there shall be no might in thine hand. Why? Because you won't be able to be redeemed. No man shall save you. No man shall buy you. And last but not least, verse 68. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, which was slavery, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. Meaning what? You're not going to be able to see your land anymore. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, meaning no man shall redeem you back, because you're going to be in a bad case. All right? So that's why the leaders of this people cause them to err. That's why we read in Isaiah 51 and 18, there is none to guide her among all her sons, whom she hath brought forth, neither is there any that taketh her by the hand of all the sons that she hath brought up. And that's why we have to wait upon the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua to redeem us. It says, these two things, verse 19, these two things are come unto thee, who shall be sorry for thee? Desolation and destruction, and the famine, and the sword, by whom shall I comfort thee? Yeah, because there is no one to comfort you. Brother just put up a video to where it was dealing with Puerto Rico and how they've been conquered by the Spanish first, and then the Americans, when they conquered or when they defeated the Spanish, Puerto Rico came under the rule of America. But the people there still can't vote. They still can't do this. They say, even though all that voting is bullshit, but they're just letting you know how much of a slave you are. There's no seat, for them, in the UN, and whatever is there from these nations that are Israelites is nothing more than the puppet leaders of those countries that are officiating the business of the bankers. No one else. Because you see what happens when they try to go against the bankers. They get put to death, and they put in another puppet in there that's going to be beneficial to the plans of the elite, so-called elite, and not to the benefit of the people, the indigenous. Now, let's read on. Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net. And we see that happening. Jake is out there. Like when you look at Gad on the res, man, they're pretty much a warrior tribe of people that have been defeated. They've been defeated, and they've given up all hope. That's why they're going to these different places on the res where they can buy hair products and different things there. And what are they doing? They're buying those hair products and actually drinking them, that have the ones that have alcohol content in it, just to numb the pain. A lot of them are diabetics, have all kind of problems physically because of their diet, because of the curses. And no one is able to help them. They have leaders. The leaders ain't doing shit for them. It says, they are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy power. Yeah. And Jake is full of that fury of the Lord, man. Because the Most High is the one that put Jake in that condition, because Jake pissed the Lord off. It says, therefore hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. Yeah, because the affliction that came through what? Through the oppression and the fury of the oppressor, of the enemy, by the sword, by this legislation, by the things that they've done to us, the taking of our resources, the stealing of our lands, you name it, so on and so forth. It says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai, the Lord, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. See, because it's the cup of the Lord's fury. And thou shalt no more drink it again. So now we're getting ready to enter into greatness. We're getting ready to enter into the kingdom. And these nations that had us in captivity are about to make that transition into the kingdom to be slaves, utter slaves. So now it says, but I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down, that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as a street to them that went over. Literally. So now the Lord is going to bring us out of that, because the Lord said that the heathen were going to be the head and we were going to be the tail. But now it's going to be a role reversal. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick in Lamentations. Lamentations chapter 1. Just bear with me a second. Lamentations chapter 1 and verse 21. They have heard that I sigh. There is none to comfort me. All mine enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that thou hast done it, meaning brought us down. Thou wilt bring the day that thou hast called, excuse me, and they shall be like unto me. So they're going to be in this condition. You can read Obadiah, where it speaks about, the heathen drinking continually. They're going to be gulping it every day, Inside joke. All right, now let's go from there to Jeremiah chapter 30. Let's see how much of this we could get through. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. It says, Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So this time that's coming of Jacob's trouble, we're going to be delivered from this devastation, from this hell that's coming upon this earth. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord Yahushua of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. So the Lord is going to break these chains. He's going to take away that misery, and he's going to put it upon those that afflict us. Now let's jump from there real quick to Isaiah chapter 10, back to Isaiah 10, or back to Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 20. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that, oh Lord, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, which is who? Esau and the other nations, but shall stay upon the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in truth, right? Verse 27, and it shall come to pass in that day that his burden shall be taken away from off thy shoulder, and his yoke from off thy neck, and the yoke shall be destroyed because of the anointing. And that's what's happening right now. The anointing is what's breaking these chains that were on our minds and physically. All right. So now let's go back to Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 9. It says, but they shall serve the Lord their power, and David their king, whom I shall raise up unto them. And the Lord has raised up King David. Those that can receive it, that's King Masha. He's in the spirit world right now, but eventually he will be set back up into power underneath Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, so now it says, verse 10, therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity, and Jacob shall return and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. Now let's go from there to Matthew chapter 24, because remember it said that no man shall save thee, but who's going to save us? Yahushua. He's not coming back as a man. He's our savior. That's what the name Yahushua means. Matthew 24:29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken, because these societies and their kingdoms, their governments are going to be shaken. It says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, because he says he's not going to meet these devils as a man. It says, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. And that's going to be a glorious day, which that day is fast approaching. So now let's go back and finish up in Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 11. Let's see how many of these verses we can get through before we close out. Verse 11. For I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whether I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee. Yeah, because the Lord said, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. But I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. For thus saith the Lord power, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. There is none to plead thy cause. That thou mayest be bound up, thou hast no healing medicines. And the only healing medicine is Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Because remember, the Lord said that through his word, he healed them. Verse 17, for I will restore health unto thee. It says, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord, because they called thee an outcast. See, we've been called the outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. Yeah, but now the Lord is seeking after us. How? By his word, you know, by his word. He's seeking after us by his word. All right. It says, thus saith the Lord, and the word is being propagated by who? By the prophets. It says, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents, meaning the Lord is going to deliver us from that captivity. All right. So it says, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tent and have mercy on his dwelling places, and the city shall be builded up. The city shall be builded upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. Yeah, because the Lord is going to beautify the land of Israel once again, because it's going to be totally annihilated and destroyed. It says, and out of them shall proceed thanksgiving, and the voice of them that make merry, and I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. That's why I said that the saints shall be joyful in glory. It says, their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me. I will punish all that oppress them, and that's why these nations are in trouble. It says, and their nobles shall be of themselves. And the nobles represent who? The people that guide you and lead you. You know, the ones that are in prestigious positions is going to be of themselves, meaning no longer is Jake going to be talking about voting for the Edomite president or whatever other president they put up there. They're going to be from among Israel, because you're going to have a governing body of Israel. It says, and their governors shall proceed from the midst of them, and I will cause him to draw near, and he shall approach unto me. For who is this that engaged his heart to approach unto me, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai? And you shall be my people, and I will be your power. Yeah, because at one time the Lord cast us off. It says, behold, the whirlwind of the Lord goeth forth with fury, a continuing whirlwind. It shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked, because the chariots are coming. That's the salvation of Israel, the elect of Israel, through those chariots. The last verse, the fierce anger of the Lord shall not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days you shall consider it. And we're in the latter days now, and we are considering it, and we will consider it even more the closer and closer we get, because this devil is going down, you know, and his ultimate judgment prior to him going into hardcore slavery is going to be the nuclear missiles and the chariots coming to decimate his kingdom, his empire, this wicked empire. And after that, he will suffer captivity for a period of 1,000 years, you know, and then after that, hardcore slavery. Then after that, you know, they will be rounded up. All the Edomites will be rounded up and burnt to a crisp, because thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, because that is the judgment upon the wicked. You know, that's why the scripture says there is a judgment, and this judgment is going to be meted out upon the wicked of this society. You know, so they have the power to do what they're doing, but eventually the Lord is going to bring them down, because the power that they have is the power that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua granted unto them. So with that, you know, I pray that your brothers have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.